March. We're going to get you some water. Congratulations again. You guys have played fantastically in the international. You have a lot to be proud of, and you are really putting South Korea on the map, and Dota on the map in South Korea, even more importantly. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, no, just whisper. We're going to send it back to you guys and just keep it quiet now.
Honestly, I'm tearing up. It's fantastic for March, and thank you very much, Casey, for a great interview yet again. It now becomes the March roar. I want to hear it every time that he wins a game. I don't know if he'll live, though, if we keep making him do that every time. But, yeah, here we go. You don't even need the audio, and you can still hear it coming out of the booth. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Esports moments like that are what makes it all worthwhile. Yeah. It's fabulous. Casey touched on the prize money thing, and I think it's important that we talk about it a little bit. If only because the jump is so big between the top 12 and the top 8. And MVP now are top 8, and they do take home more than $800,000. It's a $600,000 jump. What that must mean to those players, I don't know if you can.
Or to those parents who get half of
to the parents, indeed.
Your car.
They're already like, yeah, they're celebrating back at home, throwing a party. What do you think, Shiva, with that kind of amount of money?
I think at some point, I mean, obviously you're playing in the international. You know that there's $18 million, total prize pool. So you know you're playing for a lot of money. But I think at some point, a lot of money is going to turn into just a lot of money. You're going to win a lot of money. Be that $1 million, be that 200K, which is still a lot of money. I mean, it might not be 6 million, but it's a lot of money still. And I think for these players right now, as Mark said, for them it's only like try to be better, try to prove yourself. I think the money, they're good, they're set. Like you said, they're playing without pressure.
I think the biggest part is probably a sense of accomplishment. Going as a wild card and being in top 8, that's already crazy.
Yeah. Is that the best performance of a wild card?
I'm not sure.
We need
all
the
the
What about
CDEC? We need
CDEC.
CDEC, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know, you're Vega or Archon, and you're like, what kind of workout was that?
Yeah.
What kind of? We had to play the strongest teams of the tournament. Can I just play, someone else? Pretty tough.
Absolutely. I picked up on a key phrase that he keeps using, Marge, and he says, "We're not afraid of losing." How important is that, Malini?
I think they're very fearless, and I actually think it's no coincidence that the playoff or the play-in teams got so far. Just because the invited teams, they've had 2 or 3 months. They're probably watching the prize pool grow, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, all we need to do is make top 8, and that's a few $100,000." As opposed to the play-in teams, they're worried about just making it to the main event, and they've been preparing for 2 or 3 months just for a chance to get to this big prize pool. And that sort of mentality, once you get past a certain point, it really does start to affect you. And they're playing Dota just like, normal playing Dota. And you can hear it in March. You can see it in their play. They go with Bounty Hunter Spirit Baker first pick, just, whatever. We're going to kill people. We're going to do our thing. We're going to have fun. Whereas, a lot of the teams have had a much safer, less risky playstyle because they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose out at a chance at that money. And at the end of the day, it's just playing Dota. You have to play good Dota. You have to win.
Do you feel like that's what Empire, lacked? Like that fearlessness? Because that's normally the team Empire that we know, right?
Yeah. I mean, Empire did play fearless. They tried to bring the fight to them, but this is what MVP has done every single game, though. And I think it's a big part of that as well, because saying that you're not scared and you're playing fearless is one thing if you're just farming and playing, a normal game of Dota. They don't do that. Yeah. MVP play crazy aggression, so they definitely are fearless.
They drafted to basically brawl. They didn't care about anything. They just wanted to fight the whole way through. There's a great example of that, actually, at 36 minutes. I don't know whether we can bring that one up, because at that particular point, there was that huge fight in the Radiant jungle that led to them taking racks all over the map. And this is a great example of brawling.
And at this point, they also have plenty of items on the PL, so he's a huge factor now. In the beginning, his team was carrying him, but right now, he's just taking over the show in these team fights. There's no good counter to him. He just goes in. Vayne and TA don't do anything to him. Tuska doesn't do anything. He just goes completely ham.
And by the time Silent actually gets some hits in, he has to already blink around to try to find new targets. He just gets kind of around. He doesn't actually get to contribute to this fight as much as he probably would want to.
Yeah, I mean, he has time to kill someone, but Heal is just killing people quicker. Yeah. And they have a Lina on top of that as well. The burst damage is definitely there. So yeah, it's just the speed of MVP.
We're going to move on to our next game fairly shortly, but I do want to save the last word for Team Empire, because we haven't mentioned them yet. Obviously, we're so caught up in the fabulous play of MVP Phoenix, but a very, very disappointing tournament for Team Empire, considering that they weren't that far away from a 2-0 yesterday against LGD.
I forgot what commentator said it during the group stage, but someone was talking about the Korean teams, and they said they out-Russianed the Russians. And that's kind of what happened here today.
Yeah, it did. Seb, what are your thoughts on the match as a spectacle?
I feel very bad for Empire because they didn't show how good they are. They really didn't. But it's also part of the game, right? If you're not able to shine on the important match, then you're not as good as people think you are. And I also feel bad for Silent because I felt like he played incredibly well, even though they lost. I think it was a stellar performance, but it always is from him. So it's a sad day. I don't like seeing people lose, but MVP did definitely deserve to win, and I thought they had the better. They were smarter in terms of drafting as well. You know, Empire came back. They were like, all right, you want to fight us? We're going to fight. They went for the Undying, the Tusk, for fighting lineup, and suddenly PL into they drafted PL. So Empire got caught off guard, and they felt like they had to answer that late game potential, and they went into anti-mage, but it was a very mixed draft. They ended up fighting all the time with an anti-mage. I felt like MVP was just ahead.
Yeah, they said they had a plan, and I think they executed it perfectly. Shiva, in the way that they've come through MVP Phoenix, it is a great story. It's one of those fantastic stories that the international seems to throw up every single year in one way or another. We almost seem spoilt with it this year because we've got the C-Deck stuff going on in the upper bracket. We've got Newbie going out, Na'Vi going home, MVP Phoenix coming through the lower bracket, shocks all over the place, Team Secret losing as well. Where's it going to end?
Well, I don't think it is going to end. We have still so many teams in a running that have one of those stories, that the underdog story. Everybody loves the underdog story, and it seems like a lot of teams have that type of story that are actually doing really well. I actually personally was slightly cheering for Empire. I know Resolution has been working really hard, but I think they're a very young team, and I think we will see them again next year as well.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Last question to you, Wega. Shift of power is something we've talked a little bit about over the last couple of days, this East-West pendulum thing. If we throw the Koreans in the mix right now, there are Koreans and China dominating both lower and upper bracket. Is it too soon to start talking about shifts of power?
I think it's, we've had Western teams, we had, European teams, and we had Chinese teams winning. Maybe it's time for Korea to go all the way. But I just want to have a quick moment to say as well that it's a sad departure for Empire. It's one of the downsides to knowing people in the scene so well is you always feel a bit of sadness when you see a team get knocked out. So it's a tough day for them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. We're going to move on very shortly, but first of all, let's take a look at the bracket because it shows you that MVP Phoenix have truly risen from the ashes and are now in round 3 of the lower bracket. They will play the winner of Cloud9 versus Vici Gaming, which will be coming up next. You'll also see at the bottom half of the bracket as well, Complexity, Virtus Pro, Secret, and Invictus Gaming. All still to play. Those games will be played tomorrow. So Cloud9 versus Vici Gaming will be our next match. Again, not a matchup that we expected to see, Ben, in the lower bracket.
Yeah, both of these teams 5 months ago, if you told me they were being in the lower bracket this early, I would not have believed you at all.
No, very shocking indeed. Cloud9 tricky after that C-Deck game. What do they learn from that? What do they take out of it, Wega?
There was definitely a lot for them to learn from those games, but I don't think they should focus too much on games where they play really poor. They should probably look to their strengths because it's so polarized between the good C9 when they're winning and the bad C9 when they're losing. They need to just find that rhythm again and bring that back.
Okay. Before we go any further, let's just bring you the lineup for Cloud9. There we are then, the lineup for Cloud9, full of star players and star power. And what have they got that can be brought to the lower bracket? They are on the verge of that lower bracket, of course. Not perhaps where they thought they were going to be. Misery's going to lead the team out into the arena to, unsurprisingly, huge ovations, because they are a very popular team, it has to be said, not only with the fans online, but also with the fans here in the Key Arena. They are going head-to-head with a formidable foe as well. Here's the lineup for Vici Gaming. We are almost spoiled for stars in this match, it has to be said. They're on both sides of the aisle in the arena, and they are entering that arena right now. Ice, Ice, Ice on his way in. And Cloud9 also on their way. We've said it before, and, well, it bears repeating. Yet another huge match. They're all huge matches, let's be honest. At the International, it doesn't matter whether they're upper, lower, group stage or wild card. They're all massive games.
After yesterday, this was the match that I look forward to the most, though, actually. For today, we've had really good games, and I feel we're always spoiled at that. The TI, we have the best games of the year, but this is the one that I look forward to the most.
Why, specifically?
I believe they could be really evenly matched, and I think that Vici Gaming versus C9 is a game that's hard to predict in any single way, not just because of C9's fluctuating results, but also because of how Vici Gaming has a good way of understanding them, I think.
Okay, Seb?
I really want to see Cloud9 bounce back because I thought yesterday they really underperformed. Also because they're like, to me, one of the only remaining hope of Western, like European Dota right now. European Dota has played 13 games so far, the main event, and won only 2 maps, not even games, just 2 maps. Like European Dota is then getting wrecked completely at TI. I'm a European player, so I'd like to see them do a bit better.
Okay.
Although I'm happy the Koreans and the Chinese and the Americans are winning, but come on, that's a bit harsh. 2-11.
A bit harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. You're right. I mean, I didn't want to say wrecked, and I'm glad you kind of did, because then, it was